Lieutenant Commander McDonald writing to the commander of the U.S. Army Operational Group, explaining the gateway process.
Even though these experiments took place back in the 80s, these documents have been available to the general public since 2003.
It should not come as a surprise that the human mind is capable of a great deal of achievement. The human mind is responsible for many significant scientific breakthroughs, such as sending man to the moon and developing the atomic bomb. However, academics have been working on increasing its reach beyond the confines of the physical realm, transcending space and time. Recently, one of these strategies utilized by the CIA has been brought to light online after a TikToker spotted it, and it has proven to be quite the eye-opener for a lot of people. The CIA method known as the Gateway Experience was primarily characterized as a training system to bring enhanced strength, focus, and coherence to the amplitude and frequency of brainwave outputs between the left and right hemispheres. This would modify the consciousness, pushing it outside of the physical realm, escaping limits of time and space. It was essentially viewed as a method of putting minds in a new state of consciousness, influencing our brain with the goal of engaging with non-physical components of reality. According to the CIA assessment, it was used for anything from converting energy to cure one's health to traveling beyond space and time to acquire and access new information. Yes, that sounds like nonsense, yet the CIA authorized testing for this under the supervision of US Army Lieutenant Colonel Wayne M. McDonnell. The project was classified by the CIA until 2003 when it was made public. CIA initiation. McDonnell was hired to work on the Gateway Experience in the 1980s, at a time when the United States was interested in various types of psychic research, primarily because the Soviet Union was also interested in psychokinesis and extrasensory perception, ESP, for espionage missions during the Cold War. The Gateway Experience is based on research undertaken by Robert Monroe, a radio broadcasting executive who was exploring the effects of sound on human consciousness throughout the 1950s. Monroe's company, Monroe Industries, registered patents for an audio technology known as Hemisync, which he claimed could induce an altered state of consciousness by using sound waves played through a sequence of tapes to sync the output of the left and right hemispheres of the brain, hence the name Hemisync. McDonnell, along with the popular bioengineer Itzhak Bentov and a team of researchers, tested the Gateway Experience using these recordings as well as other mind relaxation approaches. If you've been paying attention up to this point, you might be thinking that none of this sounds very scientific, especially considering how challenging it will be to provide scientific evidence for the results. If you have, you are not alone. McDonnell, on the other hand, detailed how his analysis lay out the following scientific components to make this research valid. It includes biological models to better understand the gateway process's physical elements. Quantum mechanics was also used to describe the nature and operation of human consciousness. It also includes theoretical physics to explain the nature of the time-space dimension and how it might be extended by expanding awareness through the process. It also used classic physics to translate the out-of-body experience into physical science terms. The means for modifying consciousness. McDonnell discusses 3 critical consciousness-altering techniques, which we are sure you've heard of: hypnosis, transcendental meditation, and biofeedback. He contrasts these to the Gateway Experience and discusses how the initial 3 provide the foundation for reaching the Gateway Experience. The main distinction between the 3 and the Gateway Experience is the aforementioned Hemisync. McDonnell uses an illustration devised by Monroe researcher Melissa Yeager to clarify the notion of Hemisync to help people grasp it better. According to Yeager, the natural state of the human brain is like a bulb that shines, but only in a specific area. However, with Hemisync, when both hemispheres are synchronized, this light transforms into a more focused beam of light, similar to a laser that can not only be more effective, but also reach farther than before. According to McDonnell, the subject experiences Hemisync when they hear a sound that is produced at a specific frequency that is in fact related with the functioning of the human brain. When the brain hears this, it tries to recreate it by changing its output. This phenomenon was dubbed frequency following response by him. McDonald said that when a person is totally awake, the brain operates at a beta frequency, but when he or she is asleep, it operates at a theta frequency. Researchers can use FFR to trick the brain into moving from beta to theta by forcing it to listen to an external theta frequency. In Hemisync, a frequency is injected in the left ear that is 10 Hz higher than the frequency introduced in the right ear. It attempts to stabilize this to a single level by listening to both separate frequencies. This is referred to as beat frequency. When beat frequency and Hemisync are established, the left hemisphere relaxes and the person enters a virtual sleep state while also aligning brain patterns in both hemispheres, allowing the human to change their own consciousness. The simulated sleep state also decreases a person's pulse rate while increasing the frequency of brainwave output, which McDonald claims produces a vibrational system across the body that syncs with the Earth's energy continuum. According to McDonald, if people attain that energy level at the same time, they will be able to interact within it. Interaction with a universal hologram. Our universe is one large hologram of unbelievable complexity, says McDonald. This hologram is made up of interacting energy fields that are both moving and stationary, as well as all phases of time, past, present, and future. The universal hologram is aware of the holograms created by the human mind, with the right hemisphere of the brain receiving energy from the universal hologram and the left hemisphere converting it into consciousness. The gateway experience, on the other hand, pushes and transforms awareness to absorb more of the universal hologram by altering this energy matrix in the brain. Getting to the gateway experience. McDonald spoke about Monroe's path to the gateway, a 7-day journey that allowed the human mind to expand its consciousness. On the first day, the subject is taught to isolate extraneous concerns or unimportant things in the mind into a visualization device called an energy conversion box. In the next level, he is instructed to hear to resonant humming on tape and is asked to mimic it. The subject is urged to repeat a gateway affirmation such as, "I am merely a physical body and deeply desire to expand my consciousness," at the third stage. The subject is then exposed to Hemisync sound frequencies while also being asked to focus on improving perception and appreciation for feelings associated with brainwave synchronization. Physical relaxation techniques are then introduced, while Hemisync frequencies are expanded to include pink and white noise, which put the body in a simulated sleep state and relax the brain's left hemisphere while raising consciousness in the right hemisphere. Following that, the subject is instructed to visualize an energy balloon extending from the top of the head, around the body, and all the way to the feet, where it flows back into the body to the head and out of the head, making a sort of cycle. This is similar to the flow of energy in the universe and provides protection against conscious beings with lower energy levels that the subject may encounter if he or she achieves out-of-body experience. After mastering these strategies, the subject can advance to the gateway experience's more exploratory stages, where they will learn how to interact with and alter newly revealed aspects of consciousness. Time traveling. McDonald also discusses the possibility of time travel, which can be realized by amplifying the sounds on the Hemisync tapes referred to as Focus 15. Participants are urged to imagine time as a wheel with spokes pointing to events in their history while listening to this tape. In his testing, less than 5% of people were able to travel back in time for the entire 7-day training period, but he believes that with a few weeks of training, they can simply travel back in time. McDonald added, they also state that not only the individual's past history is available for examination by one who has achieved Focus 15, but other aspects of the past with which the individual himself has had no connection may also be accessed. This wasn't the end of it. After attempting to examine their past, participants were asked to use the Focus 21 cassettes to go into the future, but very few people were capable of reaching this level. McDonald estimates that it would take months or possibly years of practice to attain this level. However, the final stage was learning out-of-body mobility, in which the subject was able to raise themselves out of their body once their brainwave pattern and energy had synchronized harmoniously with the surrounding electromagnetic environment. According to McDonald, none of the test individuals were successful. McDonnell summarized the gateway process, arguing that it was far from flawless, but had enormous potential. He concluded by saying, "There is a sound and rational basis in terms of physical science parameters for considering gateway to be plausible in terms of its essential objectives. Intuitional insights of not only personal but of a practical and professional nature would seem to be within the bounds of reasonable expectations. However, a phased approach for entering the gateway experience in an accelerated mode would seem to be required if the time needed to reach advanced states of altered consciousness is brought within more manageable limits from the standpoint of establishing an organization-wide exploitation of gateway's potential." He made recommendations for how the CIA should design their study in gateway studies, but there is no evidence as to whether they worked on it in the future. Page 25 of the report was missing, just as McDonnell was detailing potential applications for the gateway experience. The CIA, on the other hand, has mentioned that this page was never here in the first place. Several conspiracy theories contend that McDonnell may have left it on purpose to encourage individuals to learn the gateway method and experience it for themselves. Some report readers have gone deeper into this theory and taken it as confirmation of the law of attraction, the philosophy that positive thoughts bring positive outcomes into a person's life and negative thoughts bring negative outcomes. So what are we to make of it all? The document is undeniably intriguing to read, but it should not be taken as scientific, despite the scientific language and concepts on which it is based. Many of the ideas in the document are based on legitimate scientific research, but when combined, they are untestable. There are also some dubious theories and logical leaps thrown in for good measure. But don't let us deter you from your quest to the realm beyond this reality.